Good morning, everyone. This is Richard Harrison with the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission, and on behalf of ORSANCO's commissioners and staff, wanted to welcome you to today's webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know a few more folks may join us. Wanted to also introduce Jason Heath, who will be going through the technical details of the proposal we're here to discuss today. A little bit about our procedures. Again, the purpose of this webinar is to inform folks interested about the proposed changes to the pollution control standards and to answer any questions that you might have. So given the amount of folks that are on the webinar, we'll go ahead and open up the lines at the end of the session and just be able to have a discussion verbally through the webinar here. Again, the webinar is not for the purpose of accepting comments for the record. We have a process which Jason will go through a little bit later to detail that effort. Given that this is the third, round of our review, probably most of the folks are familiar with that effort. So we'll go through just a little overview of the current proposal, a little bit about ORSANCO, and then open it up to questions. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and mute all participants just to help with any background noise. We have had that from time to time, and so hopefully that'll make this go a little bit smoother. And then please feel free to enter a question at any time in the chat box. However, again, we should have plenty of time and the ability to let folks ask those verbally. And then comments for the record must be submitted in writing by mail or email by April 15th. And we have a lot of information on our website, including these instructions at orsanco.org, and that's listed there, the path to that information. So again, the purpose of this review is to solicit input from the public on proposed specific revisions to the pollution control standard for discharges to the Ohio River, and that our last review was completed, and the current revision that is in force is the 2015 revision. Who is ORSANCO? We were formed in 1948 by the signing of our compact by the governors of our 8 member states, and this was also approved by Congress. We have our 6 main stem states as members, and also we have New York and Virginia. As part of the framework of our oversight board, our policy board, if you will, we have 3 commissioners appointed from each state and 3 federal commissioners from the United States that make up our board of directors, again, if you will, and these are our decision makers. Our compact provides ORSANCO's mission and authorities and really is the formative document for all of our program work. And our mission focuses on interstate water pollution control. So I'd like to do a little bit of background about how we really reached this point where we're conducting a third review through this particular triennial review. And so the current review began with the appointment of an ad hoc committee on pollution control standards, which really started several years ago. And through the committee's work, there were 5 alternatives developed for consideration. And really those ranged from essentially eliminating the program to enhancing the program and various variations in between. The committee landed on a preferred alternative, which is alternative number 2. And through the committee's work, there was a recommendation to the commission, and the commission accepted the committee's recommendation and authorized the Pollution Control Standards Committee to initiate a public review of really all the alternatives, but really making sure that the public understood that expanded alternative number 2 was the preferred alternative. And that alternative would have eliminated the criteria, essentially, mixing zone requirements in most of the wastewater discharge requirements. A little bit about our Pollution Control Standards Committee. The committee is made up of folks from each of our member states, the federal commissioners, And that is the committee that facilitates our review and works through questions that may come up from time to time on the pollution control standard. So that is the committee tasked with the review, and they're still really involved in trying to work through this particular review and ultimately develop a recommendation to the commission. So our first public review, which was more of a broad review, occurred between January 10th and February 24th, and it really focused on input on the 5 alternatives as well as specific input on alternative number 2. I won't go through the details of the comments. This is going to be available on our website, and we have an entire web page for each of the reviews that you're welcome to look at. And so after the initial review, at the June 2018 Commission meeting, the Commission authorized the PCS Committee to initiate a second public review, and that review really focused on the specific revisions to the standards based on recommended alternative number 2. Again, another public review was conducted between June 26th and August 20th. We had a public hearing as part of that, and there were a number of detailed comments, and many of the comments that came in, the large majority of the comments that came in were opposed to the proposed alternative. And so moving into the October 2018 Commission meeting, the Pollution Control Standards Committee requested that additional time be provided to the committee to review the comments and really to step back and formulate their recommendation to the Commission. And at that meeting, the Commission concurred with the PCS Committee's recommendation, and at that point, then the Pollution Control Standards Committee really stepped back and really looking at the comments, and there was not unanimous agreement within the ORSANCO commissioners. So really stepped back and wanted to develop a proposal that took into account the comments and also worked towards receiving more of a consensus amongst the commissioners of ORSANCO. So through that process and also working with our advisory committees at the February 2019 Commission meeting, the PCS Committee really brought forward an entirely new proposal. And because it was entirely new, this led to our third review that we're here today to talk about. And the specific proposal really accomplished several things. It recognizes that although member states may implement water quality standards in a different fashion, they all must maintain programs mandated by the Federal Clean Water Act to protect water quality. And so through this, in order to put together the recommendation, there were several key tenets that the committee focused on. Really, one of the major ones is making sure it's consistent with the compact. And again, the compact is the compact of our member states coming together to work together to protect the water quality of the interstate bodies of water within the basin, the compact district, and specifically the Ohio River, for which our pollution control standards apply to. They determined that any proposal should be cost effective. It should be cost effective both for the Commission, ORSANCO, and state resources. And it should provide the flexibility for states to use it if desired, but also not be mandated. Again, these are key tenets that were brought together to try to come to more of a consensus. However, there was a consensus that we probably should preserve the PCS to be available for specific main stem Ohio River problems, both currently and that may arise in the future, and that any proposal should ensure that the uses identified in the compact are being maintained. So just a couple more thoughts on that before I go through the general statement of the proposal. One of the focuses on this has been that really because each state implements standards using different mechanisms that are generally approved through their legislatures, that even if the exact same criteria was used by each state for the same permit or the same discharge, that there will be different limits. And so the focus on this has really been looking at the permit and the discharge impacts to the Ohio River uses. And so this proposal would take advantage of ORSANCO's exceptional science, the rich data set that we have for the Ohio River for each of the pools, and it would allow ORSANCO's staff to review the permits that come through our office and really make sure that the end result of a specific discharge is not impactful to the uses of the Ohio River. And then ORSANCO's criteria would be used as that benchmark, as that baseline. And so it really allows consistency by using the same set of standards for the entire river, but then provides the flexibility for the state to utilize different standards if needed. And so that's really the key aspect of this. And then I'll read a general statement about the proposal that really kind of summarizes it. In essence, the new proposal, which retains the PCS, would allow states to use alternative criteria from those contained in ORSANCO's PCS in their permitting process, so long as the resulting permit requirements are protective of the Ohio River designated uses. One last thought on this is that it has always been the states that enforced ORSANCO's criteria through, through recent decades through the MPDES program. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jason Heath. Jason is our technical programs director. He is our staff member that's really facilitating the entire review. And Jason will go through some of the specific components of the proposal and then just talk about the rest of the review period, and then we'll open up the question.
Good morning. So I am going to read verbatim the proposed revisions to the standards, and we're not going to go through every revision, but the most significant ones. So I will read this. There are basically two paragraphs that kind of outline that. So it is recognized by the Commission that the permitting and water quality standards development processes of the individual states may vary as contemplated by the compact due to a number of factors, including administration of the federal and state NPDES discharge elimination system as established in Federal Clean Water Act. Well, that's the first paragraph. The second paragraph has a little more of the meat of the revision, and it's on page 2 in the fourth paragraph of the redlined version that we have on our website. It is recognized further by the Commission that each discharge permit issued pursuant to the Clean Water Act or other federal or state law may not contain requirements addressing one or more of the pollution control standards. The Commission and each signatory state have committed to implementation of discharge permit limitations that provide comparable use protection and achievement of the compact goals as provided by these standards. To that end, each signatory state will provide notice and an opportunity for comment to the Commission of any proposed or draft permit to the main stem of the Ohio River. So that is the verbatim, the most significant change that's being proposed. So with that, I will move on to more of the administrative details of this review process. So the public review schedule, we opened that on March 1st, and we are holding 2 informational webinars. Today's is the first, and we're holding the second one on this Thursday at 6 p.m. so that we can allow people that can't participate at work to be able to participate after work. We are holding 3 public hearings that are geographically distributed along the river to allow as many folks as possible attend the hearings and provide comments there verbally. So April 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. in Pittsburgh. The hearing venue is announced on our website. The second hearing will be in Evansville on April 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. And the third will be in Cincinnati on April 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. Public notification, and what I'm talking about here is what we did to announce this public review. We developed a notice of hearing, and it was sent out to approximately 200 media outlets. We have a large list, email distribution list of approximately 3,379 that we emailed that public notification to, as well as all the permitted discharges on the Ohio River. We sent them written notice of this review process. And so how to make public comment. Comments must be submitted in writing by mail or email by midnight on April 15th of this year. That is when our public, it's a 45-day public review. That's when it closes, and we will no longer accept comments past that date. Instructions for submitting comments says will be on our website. They are on our website. And those instructions in a nutshell tell you how to email comments to us or how to send them in writing. After we finish the presentation, we will open it up for question and answer, but today's comments will not be included in the official public record. We will do that, accept those in writing and through the 3 public hearings. I've shown a website address where you can get all of the information to support this public review.